Power hour. It's the what? Power hour. It's the who? Power hour. Yeah. Blacks, Hispanics, and natives. Power hour. It's the what? Power hour. It's the who? Power hour. Yeah. Blacks, Hispanics, and
to go to show you what they call natural selection and evolution is God's design also. Go ahead, read
The
this.
Book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 19, verse 18. For the elements were changed in themselves by a kind of harmony.
So he's letting you know that the Most High can manipulate the elements, right? Those molecules, those chemicals, right? He says they were changed in themselves by a kind of harmony. Come on.
Like as in a psaltery notes change the names of a tune, and yet are always sound.
But so this what they call this soundness, and how they can say, well, this always is going to weigh this chemical structure is always going to be this, that. He says, but within that, God has the power to make the elements change, but harmoniously. That's like when they send molecules and stuff colliding. They have that collider thing where they send atoms and stuff smashing into each other. And you've heard things about, they're trying to find the God particle and all that stuff. They call it the God particle because they say that that's what to try to recreate the Big Bang, like on a microscopic scale. Anyway, the point is they're trying to manipulate these things, but it doesn't. It's always going to be this weight. It's always going to be that. Sometimes you'll burn certain chemical things and it'll always have a blue hue. It's saying when God is dealing with that stuff, he can change it, right? But it's going to be harmonious. When they do it, it's chaos. They create issues. They create problems. They get chemical explosions and fires as they experiment with this stuff, right? But he says, and yet they are always sounds. Come on.
Which may well be perceived by the sight of the things that have been done.
So he's letting you know that what you see today, from the dinosaurs to the fossils to everything, it's perceived that these chemical changes, what they call natural selection and genetic stuff moving on, is by God's thing, right? That by harmony, meaning that intelligent design. It was done harmoniously, not chaotically. Come on.
For earthly things were turned into watery.
So he says, so earthly things were turned into watery, right? So they're telling you there was more land mass, there was less, all these theories that they have. So he says, so I turned earthly things into watery things. They also talk about what? Mammals evolved to be in the ocean. They talk about the whale. How did the whale, look at cows and look at hippopotamus, and they eventually went in there. It says God made earthly things turn into watery things. Come on.
And the things that were before swam in the water now went up to the ground.
Man, let me tell you something. The Bible, you better shut the hell up with all your stuff, bro. The Bible giving you all this stuff. So that's what you call evolution. Way before, remember, it said Darwin's book was 150 years ago.
Right.
Solomon was thousands of years ago.
Right.
And it says, and the things that before swam in the water now went upon the ground. It's covered in here. This was written way before anybody came up with their theory of evolution. And it's letting you know it's by intelligent design. Come on.
The fire had power in the water, forgetting his own virtue.
So while y'all don't understand, right, because fire and water shouldn't do this, letting you know, he's giving you a little insight into how he dried up watered parts. He said he made the fire have virtue in the water to what? Think about it. It evaporated water in certain places so more land could be in place. Come on.
And the water forgot his own quenching nature.
Come on.
On the other side, the flames wasted not in the flesh of the corruptible living things.
So can you imagine the dinosaurs walking by and stuff, and there's they call that terraforming today. The Most High was changing the landscape, and it says the fire was not touching these things.
Hey, it said in the water forgot. That means that water has life.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But it forgot because the Most High God controlled it.
Yes.
For that moment, not to do what it needed to do.
Yes. Come on. Yep. You're absolutely right, bro. This thing is heavy. Come on.
The corruptible, though they walked therein, neither melted they the icy kind of heavenly meat, heavenly meat that was of the nature apt to melt.
So he's letting you know, again, they call that terraforming. So when they say the earth and the plates and all this stuff shifted and this place used to be like this and ice ages and stuff, that was all creation. God did not stop after those 7 days. He manipulated things through the process of time it was encoded in the molecules to do these things. That's why he says, meaning All right, in this dispensation of time, these molecules are going to shift and do this. Water's going to forget, fire's going to do this, and it's going to reform this. Things that were in the water, I'm going to make on the land. Things that were on the land are going to shift to the water. Come on.
For all things, O Lord, thou didst magnify thy people
And he did it all for us. Come on.
and glorify them. Neither didst thou lightly regard them, but didst assist them in every time and place.
In every time and in every place, God assisted. There's no natural selection. It's all of the Most High. It's all of the Most High.
Lego.
Israel is back.
We back.
Israel is back.
We
got
back.
the nations running scared because Israel is back. All eyes on us because we keeping them laws.
Keeping them
When the
laws.
Lord will return, Babylon will
Babylon
fall.
go
Precepts
fall.
solid. We got them on lock.
Got 'em on lock.
God's chosen people with Christ as our rock. Israel is back.
We back.
Israel is back.
We back.
You heathen, get ready for our whip to crack.
Damn.